Good evening. I'd like to call to order the regular council meeting in the town of Batesburg-Leesville on October 8th, 7 p.m. at the beautiful Batesburg-Leesville Town Hall Complex. Welcome and thank all of you for coming and participating and playing a part in the process of our town. At this time, I would like to ask Kent Suits, Pastor, if you would come and lead us in our invocation, please.
Good evening again, councilmen, councilwomen, and residents of Batesburg-Leesville. It's good to be back with you this evening. Our book for the evening is called Leadership Mosaic by Daniel Montgomery. And in this book, he presents 5 key principles for a leader as we've been looking at different months, different books on leadership. These principles are 5, and they are that a leader, a strong leader, is a convictional leader, that is a leader that has strong beliefs, values, and sticks to those things regardless of the consequences. A strong leader is a creative leader. They lead with a vision and they have practical imagination. They're not just dreamers, but they put their dreams into reality. They are courageous leaders. They take risk and they make hard decisions, and they make the right decisions even though when they are difficult. They are collaborative leaders, which means they work as a team with others and they equip others and develop leaders to follow after them. And they are contemplative leaders. This means they are humble, they are filled with humility, they desire to improve and to learn and to be better every day as a leader. And so these 5 principles on leadership, convictional, creative, courageous, collaborative, and contemplative, is what I'll be praying through this evening. Let's pray together. Father God, we thank you that you are a great leader, that you have created us in your image to reflect you and to demonstrate your leadership on earth. I pray for these men and women who are leading our town, that you would give them conviction and creativity and courage, that they would be able to work as a team together, and that they would be humble as leaders and servant leaders of this town. Give them love for the people, enable them to make hard decisions, even though they're difficult, to do what's right, that they would have strong beliefs and values that they stick to, and that they would work together in humility as a team. We pray this all for your glory in Christ's name. Amen.
Thank you, sir. At this time, if we'd all stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Moving on to item 4, approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Gambrell. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Prowse. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? And it passes unanimously. Item number 5, adoption of the minutes from the September 10th, 2018 regular council meeting. Do I have a motion to adopt the September 10th regular council meeting minutes?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Prowse. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hallman. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? And passes unanimously. We're going to get that out tonight. Moving on to 5A, or B, that's it. Adoption of the minutes of September 24th council work session. Do I have a motion?
I have a motion, but I would like it to be added to the record that we need to add to the meeting notes about the recycling, that we're going to evaluate this over a 6-month period, which was discussed in the work session.
A motion to adopt with the added 6-month, repeat it one more time?
Evaluation period.
Evaluation period added to the minutes. And I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Prowse. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? And it passes unanimously. Moving on to the mayor's report. Our next regular council meeting will be November the 12th, 2018. Moving on to 6B council committees report. Central Midlands Council Member Gambrell, anything to report from the COG?
Yes, sir. We met on September 27th, at 12 o'clock. Discussed several agenda items on the transit authority and the support programs. Two of them which I'd like to mention is one, can't find it here. There is $587 million available to eligible guarantees and communities where a presidential declaration of major disaster was issued. Now, the reason I bring this to attention, we got another hurricane coming this way. And if I understand it and read right, it's supposed to hit Columbia dead middle. So Teddy, you need to be, because it's first come, first served. No application, no deadlines or anything like that. Another item which I found interesting was that they have budgeted $382,699 for management platform to shelter buses. That's what it is.
There you go.
There were several questions about that. They will come back and explain that to us at our next meeting, which shall be, I believe, sometime in November. October 25th, that's right. That's all I had, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Moving on to item 2, Environmental Planning Advisory Committee. Councilman Jason Prowse.
We have not yet met this month. We will meet either next week or the following, so at the next meeting I'll have an update.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Joint Municipal Water and Sewer Commission. Myself, the Joint Municipal Water and Sewer Commission met on September the 12th. And one of the interesting things in our general information is they're expanding their physical offices, the footprint down there at Joint Municipal. So they have requests for proposals for the main office operations improvements going out. Looks like Cone Construction. They're also reworking some of their banking, banking accounts to try to get better interest rates. On the water side, the water tank at Cox Ferry and Highway 1 and the booster station construction are complete. And they actually started in operation on September the 12th. They've got some automated control work that they still have to do, but otherwise it's going as planned. They are working, they're also looking at working with a property owner also on Highway 1 and the US 1 corridor for a future elevated tank site. So the growth in expansion is coming this direction from Lexington. Let's see. Is it mine? Can you have me up too high, Seth? I'm not bumping it. There we go. Thank you. Let's see, what else? Sewer construction was completed in Pillion, and that was for a housing addition and also a school site that they're building there. And they met with, they also met with the Rural Infrastructure Authority, RIA for short, to discuss an application process and eligible projects with RIA, and that's something I know that should be on your radar as well, Teddy. And that's all that I have for the Joint Municipal Water and Sewer Commission. Moving on to item C, Batesburg-Leesville Chamber of Commerce update. President Mike Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Economic Development Committee met on the 20th instead of 13th because Midlands Technical College was closed because of Hurricane Florence, so we decided we didn't have enough room at the chamber, so we waited a week. At that meeting, Dr. Gary gave a presentation on the referendum in November. For those of you who have not had an opportunity to see that presentation, of course, we missed the one tonight. It's at Olive Branch, but the next one is Wednesday night, the 10th of October at Cedar Grove, and then there's another one scheduled on the 15th at Friendship Baptist Church. Brief reports were given by the town, by the county, and by the chamber. I don't know whether y'all are aware or not, but at our board meetings, chamber board meetings, we have reports by the mayor, by the county, and school district also. Councilman Brigham began his meeting at the chamber board meeting with information from the South Carolina Association of Counties. And I thought this would be information you may be aware of, but still, if you're not, it'd be interesting. Lexington County had an established population in 2017 of 290,642 people. The county consists of 699 square miles. The net taxable sales in fiscal year 2016 was right at $5,830 million. Average wage per job in 2016 was $40,268. The annual average unemployment rate in 2017 was 3.6%. Single-family building permits certainly indicate the growth in our county. During the first 7 months of 2018, Lexington County had 939 building permits. Richland County is 555. Top 3 builders were in order are Great Southern Homes, Mungo Homes, and Essex Homes. He also referenced an article in the paper concerning the quarry and stated that he has tried to protect those located close to the quarry by increasing the setback distance, which received no resistance. However, he requested lower hours of operation, and that did meet resistance and did not pass. Hurricane Florence had some other effects, as we well know, in that it canceled the Batesburg-Leesville Lexington High School game. I wanted y'all to be aware of that the chamber is sponsoring that game. They have it streaming on Fox 57, and we're sponsoring that. We'll have ads on it, and in the ad, it basically stresses the fact that Batesburg-Leesville is a wonderful place to live, work, and play. And in that ad, it will have the Batesburg-Leesville logo, town logo, and the Batesburg-Leesville Chamber logo. I wanted you to know that the dream catchers are certainly extremely busy. In a week's time, they have a seminar on bullying at the Leisure Center, a picnic in the park before the move in the park, went to Columbia to the Jubilee, went to Camp Condy to help clean up grounds, and went to Dave and Buster's all in a week's period. So they are very active and doing a lot of things with the youth. Arts on the Ridge is in the process of planning an annual meeting to elect officers, establish sponsorship levels, and seek membership. Batesburg-Leesville Ministerial Alliance will host a Thanksgiving community service on Sunday, November the 18th at St. John's United Methodist Church. And 2 dates, if you don't mind, I'd like to say the Batesburg-Leesville Chamber of Commerce and the Batesburg-Leesville Study Club are both hosting the Fall Fashion Show coming up October 23rd at Southern Vacations. And last but certainly not least, the Chamber's annual banquet will be Tuesday, November 13th at 10S Farms. I hope to see some of y'all there. Thank you, sir. That's my report.
Thank you, Mike. Really appreciate it. Moving on to item 7, public comment regarding items on the agenda. Judy, do we have any ones submitted? Moving on to unfinished business, which we have none, and on to new business, item 9. Letter A, approval of a contract addendum with Code Red Community Notification to add weather alert function. We do have this, council people, we have this in our packet, and if you would at this time, Mr. Luckadoo, if you could give us a synopsis of this.
Okay, we currently have the Code Red emergency notification system, and I don't know if anybody else's phone just went off, but my Code Red did, but I think it's Lexington County that just sent one out. But
the president texted me, Teddy, personally, the other day.
I got one of those as well. So Code Red has a feature that now has the automatic severe weather notification component to it. This is a no additional cost feature that will alert people within this area in particular. If you live in this area and you are registered for Code Red, and severe weather is coming to impact our area specifically, it will send a severe weather notification out to you. So if a tornado warning is issued because of the radar indication, it's going to automatically send that alert to your phone by telephone call. So this is a no-cost feature. We do have to do a contract amendment to implement this feature, and that's what you guys have been given tonight, is that amendment to the contract.
Mr. Luckadoo, on the no-cost feature, does that mean it's no cost, or does that mean it's no cost for 16 months and then it's a cost?
It's no cost, no cost.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
In that case, I move to accept.
Mr. Gambrell with a motion to approve the contract addendum with Code Red Community Notification to add weather alert function. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hallman. Any discussion? District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 5?
Yeah.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
And I vote yes, the contract is approved. Moving on to item B, under new business. This is approval of funds for the replacement of a street department vehicle that was damaged by a fire. And we do have white papers on this. Thank you, Mr. Luckadoo. If you would give us a little synopsis for the public, please.
I will give a brief update, and if there's any questions by council, we do have our police supervisor, Jeremy Driggers, here tonight, as well as David Paget, who'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. The street department did suffer the loss of a vehicle due to a landfill fire not too long ago. Landfill caught on fire, which totally engulfed our vehicle overnight, and we found it the next morning. Insurance did provide us a payout for the existing vehicle, which I will say far exceeded what we expected to get. Insurance gave us $24,448 for that vehicle that was damaged. Within the white paper, you were provided numerous state bid option for replacement vehicles, as well as a couple used options. I will tell you that for this style vehicle, the state bid contract is very favorable versus the used option and market value. So we were very happy with what the state bids were for this vehicle. There is some equipment that needs to be put on the vehicle: decals, lights, radios, all the existing equipment that we had that we've asked for $3,000 for. In addition, the lowest bid price that we did receive was for a Chevy Silverado 3500 dually 4x2 from Love Chevrolet at $28,558, which they have in stock at this time. We would have to buy a heavy-duty 12-foot bed and lift kit to put the bed on the back of the truck for an additional $6,000. We are requesting a $40,000 for the vehicle. You deduct the $24,448, and that leaves a remaining balance of $15,552, to which we are requesting from council to replace this vehicle. And our recommendation is to just utilize the general funds fund balance that we have. We have roughly $800,000 worth of fund balance in the general fund, and we're just requesting that for the additional funds so we can get this vehicle replaced.
All right, do I have a motion? We'll have discussion. Once I have a motion, we'll have discussion. I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion to approve the funds for the replacement of the street department vehicle damaged fire to the tune of $15,552. Mr. Prowse, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Holman. And discussion. How many miles a year are we putting on these street vehicles?
I'm going to like Jeremy Driggers to come up.
Sure.
For questions.
On this truck, we average a little over, anywhere between 10 to 12,000. It's really not the miles that we put on, it's the hours. Where this truck usually runs about 5.5 hours a day. So I mean, that's, you know, you figure this truck at the time that we lost it was approximately around 10,000 hours. Whereas I know like a normal vehicle, whatnot, as far as, example is mine, at 100,000 miles, I only have 3,300 hours on mine. And so it's the wear and tear, it's the, I think the average mile an hour on this truck was 10. So your stop and go that you usually avoid on a higher mileage vehicle. And, you know, it's just one of our big essential vehicles for the town. As far as, you know, besides police and fire, this vehicle gets used.
That's my next question was, is it a multi-use vehicle?
Absolutely. I mean, we use it for, you know, day to day as far as them picking up limbs, yard debris, leaves, after, you know, storm readiness as far as barricades, dump trailer pulling. Other departments have used it for, you know, hauling mulch, and, you know, really it's just, you know, it's one of our more heavily used pieces of equipment with the town. And I believe right now, just going down to one truck, it's put the guys, you know, where usually I think they get through the route weekly, it's kind of put them on, you know, taking them a week and a half type deal, and have to be real, you know, real precise, and, you know, some stuff's just not getting hit every week now.
So everything that you're talking about putting on this vehicle, is it necessary?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, do you really need that?
Yeah, they absolutely need the amber lights for their safety. They need the radios to communicate. And, I mean, as far as the decals, yeah, we want our trucks to have the town emblem, and, you know, they're also fluorescent. And, I mean, it's like we put floor mats in these things. You know, we're trying to keep them up. Because we don't replace vehicles. You know, we keep them way up in the 100,000 mile range, and I believe with our good upkeep, and that's why we're able to do that.
Any other discussion?
Appreciate it.
Thank you. District 2,
Yes.
District 3, District 5,
Yeah.
District 7,
Yes.
District 8,
Yes.
and I vote yes. The funds have been approved. Moving on to first reading ordinance for the Municipal Association of South Carolina Setoff Debt Program. Again, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Lucky, for putting this in our packet. If you would, for the public's enjoyment of debt ordinance, if you would come give us a little synopsis, please.
Sure. Since 2006, we have participated in the Municipal Association of South Carolina's Set-Off Debt Program. It was an ordinance that was adopted back in 2006. This program is set up to allow us to recover debts that are owed to the town from individuals who have failed to pay for their water services over time. Now, I will say that most of our set-off debt, if not all of it, is not from current active accounts that we have with the town. There are people that have moved out of town and just failed to pay their last water bill, or they had had multiple months of no payment and they stopped renting and moved out of town. And we were able to offset the $50 upfront fee that people have to pay to establish their water accounts, but 9 times out of 10, that $50 is not enough to cover the balance that they have on their account. So we have a lot of debt that's outstanding. Well, this program allows us to go out and recover the debt through the end of the year taxes, to recover those debts through the, I'm drawing a blank right now.
Municipal Association.
The Municipal Association works with the Department of Revenue, and it comes out of their tax returns that they would receive for the year. So the Municipal Association has made a couple minor changes to their model ordinance. So to stay compliant and to be able to continue to operate in the set-off debt program, we have to adopt those changes that the Municipal Association has put out. But additionally, we have requested, there's always been the option to add on a $25 administrative fee, which we had never done prior to this point. This program does utilize quite a bit of time on staff resources each year to do everything that's required with getting Social Security numbers submitted, letters put out. There's numerous hours that are put into this program, and then the debts that come in, doing all the offsetting of the money in the computer system. So we're requesting to add the $25 administrative fee to each set-off debt that is involved each year. As well, the Municipal Association does deduct a $25 administrative fee off of what's supposed to come back to us for their time and effort. So this would also assist in offsetting the loss that we receive from the Municipal Association's administrative fee. That's it in a nutshell.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion to adopt the first reading ordinance for MASC set-off debt program by Mr. Gambrell. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Prouse. Any discussion?
How much debt are we looking at that we have not collected from these citizens that have potentially not paid their water bills?
In 2015, I'll tell you, for 2017, we carried over $20,527.72. That was carried over from previous years. It will continue to carry over year to year until people's debts have been paid. New debt submitted in 2017 was $1,084.78 to the carryover. We do send out an initial notice before it ever goes to the Department of Revenue, letting them know that we are submitting this if we have not received payment by such day. In 2017, out of that roughly $21,000 that we carried over in new debt, we were able to get almost $1,400 just off of the initial letter that went out. And then for the year 2017, we actually only received about $951 of that amount from the deduction in tax returns. So, I mean, we don't generally come close to what our current debt balance is, but $951.08 is better than having zero come.
When you talk about man hours, how much man hours are you talking per debt offset netting? Are you talking about like a couple hours? Are you talking about a couple days? How many?
Well, I can tell you there are numerous steps from entering Social Security numbers, which if you've got hundreds of people that you're inserting, some people may only be $50, but if you're entering 100 and something people into the system, you're having.
We have 100 and some people on an annual basis?
Just about, right around 100 and something people. And now a lot of that is carryover year to year. So, and we take a couple off periodically as their debt is completely paid off. But I would say multiple people have invested in it. I would say close to 15 hours invested into the program.
Is this a one-time fee or a yearly fee this person's gonna pay?
Well, it's going to be a part of the overall deduction in their tax return. It would be on an annual basis.
So every year that they're on this,
If there's a collection, if there's no collection at all, there won't be any fee added to it. But if there is a withdrawal off of their tax return, now Seth, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but would it be each year that?
I
there
believe
would
only
be a
on the
change?
years they're collected, so only on the year where it's collected.
Right.
And it's usually only collected once.
Right.
Yeah.
If somebody's collected in multiple years, it would be 25 each year. But a lot of people are collected in full in a single year. So it would be one time for those.
Now, in the ordinance, it says and this is just kind of wordsmithing, words are very important. The town of Batesburg-Leesville may impose a collection cost of up to $25.
Mm-hmm.
And so at whose discretion will the may be?
That would be a council's vote tonight. If the ordinance is written as a standard ordinance from the Municipal Association with the word may, but if you vote to impose the $25 to defray our internal costs, then we would be covering the may as it's written. I mean, we can change that word to will, and I don't think if y'all choose to move forward for the sake of the ordinance, we can change the word to will, and I don't think that affects our standing with the Municipal Association.
But there's no guarantee it'll only be once.
Right. If they're collected over multiple years.
Any other discussion? So again, this is a first reading ordinance for the MASC Setoff debt program. Any other discussion?
How long until you actually send them to the offset debt collection?
I'm sorry.
How long, what's your duration of time from the time they miss their first water bill, they don't pay it, you take their $50, how long are we talking about? A 6-month period, a year period? What are,
I believe it's 1 year period.
Right, yeah.
so how many letters are sent between the time that they are delinquent the first time to the time that they actually are submitted to the debt collection program?
Seth, can you?
Sure. So when someone becomes delinquent, they're given first an initial, so if they don't pay by the 25th, they'll receive a late notice by the 16th, or around the 1st of the month, and then they have until the 16th of the following month to pay. Once they fail to pay, they're cut off. No additional communication is sent out. They're just cut off. And typically, an individual who's cut off will come in within a day or so of being cut off to have service reestablished. If we don't hear from them within a week or two, the account stays closed, the water is still cut off, and that's how it drops off. And then after a year of failure to reestablish service, typically what it is renters. Those are the ones that we see, is people who are renting, have no skin in the game with the property, will fail to pay, then move on to another residence. And so we then are able to collect this after a year. We submit it to the MASC, we put it in their system, we send another letter to the last known address that we have, and a lot of times that'll generate them to come in and pay because they don't want their tax return garnished. And then if they fail to respond within 30 days, appeal it. We have had appeals in the past where there was overriding circumstances that prevented them from paying, or they didn't believe that was an error, and we've settled those as well. Or we've made payment arrangements. If we make payment arrangements, then this whole system doesn't come into effect because they're working with us to resolve that debt. If all of those fail, then they are submitted through the Municipal Association to the Department of Revenue. And the way that it works on a collection is that we are not first picking. There's a ranking order for garnishments, and we are pretty low in the totem pole. That's why they may be garnished for other reasons by other agencies, by other governments and whatnot, and corporations. So our garnishment ranks really low, and the fee, to my understanding, is only assessed when something is collected. So that's how we also get that rollover situation happening, because Susie Q may have owed us $200 for failure to pay water, but she may have had other debtors who were ahead of us in the ranking system, and therefore we don't get collected on that year. And I don't know the current total of how many are sitting in that pool right now, but we could have that information tomorrow.
So you're saying that once they get cut off, you stop communication for almost a 12-month period before they get notification they're going to debt collection?
Yes.
Is that what I'm understanding?
Right, that's correct.
The question for council is, do we really want to send poor people who can't afford to pay their water bills to debt collection? So we can collect $900 per year. I mean, do we really want to put people who are already struggling through debt collection, credit issues, so that the town can collect $900? Really? That's the question.
We've been in the program since 2006.
No, that's not the point.
Okay.
That's not the point. The point is, we're looking at this anew now. So the question before council is, do we really want to penalize poor folks who can't afford to pay their bills, they're struggling, and attach that to their credit, really, so the town can gain $900 a year?
I can't disagree with your statement, but I also think that if you don't have the program, I do think that you can invite the possibility that if people know we're not going to go after bad debts, you're going to have more people when they go to cut their water off not pay their bill, and we could end up with
Ted,
more.
do you think that people are not paying their bill just because they don't want to pay their bill? Or do you think that they're struggling and something happened in their life but they couldn't pay the bill?
I think you have people struggling, and I think there are people with those circumstances, but I think you do have some people as well that choose not to pay their bill. I think you have both. I'm not going to say that the situation you've mentioned is not the majority. I can agree with that.
It's a PR problem. We got enough of those.
This is already in place, and the only thing this ordinance is adding is a $25 additional fee for people.
I mean, when are we going to give the people their money back for the money we wasted on the water project?
Let's not go there.
Well, we are there.
I'm not.
Okay, I'm just asking a simple question. What happened to the money, that 27.9% that we increased the water bill for people? And that money has been wasted. And here we want to, we're going to send people to credit, to a credit agency to get $900
We haven't voted
a year?
yet. Stay on your argument,
Okay.
and you're doing well.
I don't need you to coach me.
I'm not coaching you.
I don't need you
I'm not coaching you.
Okay.
I would just like
Councilman,
clarification.
I am.
You don't even tell me how.
On the $25, when is it collected? I want a definite answer.
At the time that their taxes
He
are
said that
garnished.
he believes, I want a definite answer, is it or is it not? Is it yearly? I just want a definite answer. It's about $25.
It would be, the $25 would be taken at the time that their taxes are garnished. If none of their taxes are garnished in that year related to our utility bill,
And the next year they.
it would not be charged for that year. The next year, if their taxes were to be garnished for this debt, then it would be charged at that time.
Any other discussion?
Call for vote?
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
No.
District 5,
No.
District 7,
Yes.
District 8,
Yes.
and I'm going to vote yes on this first reading so to have more discussion. So first reading is accepted, and we move it to second reading. Moving on to item D, in new business, first reading ordinance adopting 5% franchise agreement with Carolina Electric Co-op. Mr. Luckadoo, would you like to speak on this, please?
Okay, just to note, we do have Morgan Harrell here from SENG. Mid Carolina is not in attendance tonight, but they did call me in advance, so if there are any questions related to this, she can also weigh in. In follow-up to last month, council voted to approve the electric service right agreement, which Mid Carolina and SENG had come to us and asking for us to approve this ESRA along with the map adopted. This franchise agreement, the purpose is twofold. Number one is to put Mid Carolina and SENG on the same timeline for a franchise agreement with the town. So there are 30-year franchise agreements that, if approved at the same time, they will both end at the same time in 30 years, so that we don't have staggered timeframes on that. The second thing is the incorporation within the franchise agreement of the ESRA and the map that we adopted, making reference to that as a part of the franchise agreement. So that's really the two things. The 5% franchise fee amount for both Mid Carolina and SENG tonight, that is not changing. That is the same as it has been in the past.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Prowse and second by Mr. Gambrell. And this would be the ordinance adopting 5% franchise agreement with Mid Carolina Electric Co-op. Any discussion? District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 5? District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
And I vote yes. First reading the ordinance has been passed. Moving on to E, first reading ordinance adopting 5% franchise agreement with South Carolina Electric and Gas.
So moved. Motion.
Motion by Mr. Gambrell to adopt the ordinance. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hallman. Any discussion? District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 5?
Yeah.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The first reading of the ordinance has passed. Thank you. At this time, item 10, the manager's report. Ted Luckadoo, if you would please take the podium.
You want me to go ahead and begin with the bike and pedestrian study?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. The bike and pedestrian study, this past Wednesday, October 3rd, we did have our consultants and representatives from the Central Midlands Council of Government, Tool Design, and the Land Plan Group here at Town Hall from 5 to 7 for an open house in which the public was invited to attend. We did have 13 people, 13 members of the community show up for the open house, to which the consultants spoke with them, and there were different stations set up to where they could write things that they love about the community, things that they feel we can do better, as well as a computer system that allowed them to outline the map of any routes that they walk or bike or would like to walk or bike, and put comments into those sections, and to just talk with them in general about walkability and bikeability here in the town. As well, while they were in town that day, they did survey the town for most of the day while the open house was not going on. They just rode around town looking at existing sidewalks, looking at other potential avenues that walkability and bikeability could be incorporated into the town. So that was what they spent this past Wednesday doing. We have had, because only 13 people showed up that evening, we do want to have more input. So we have had follow-up discussion with the consultants about doing a Facebook Live segment in which from Spartanburg, rather than them coming back here, they can do a remote site Facebook Live, which would basically incorporate everything from the open house event into that segment, and they can give tutorials on this website that they have available for people to fill out with information. So we're still working to try and finalize the plan for the Facebook Live. We have had success with Facebook Live when we utilized it in the past from an input standpoint. So we hope to do that here in the near future. If people that are here tonight or that watch this video after the meeting are interested in walkability and bikeability, please check our website, our Facebook. We are putting links up to this interactive map, and it is interactive, and it is live for the next 30 days that will allow you, and it is very simple. I've done it myself, although my routes are short throughout the town in what I utilize. But this map is very easy to use, and it is a good way to get information out there about the paths that you utilize or would like to utilize to get from point A to point B. And you can call Town Hall, we'll help you with the process as well.
Thank you, I think it's awesome. Moving on to hospitality tax business stakeholder meetings and update.
We are having 2 business stakeholder / training sessions tomorrow at 10 o'clock and 2:30. We have sent letters out to those businesses that we have identified as being ones that will collect and remit a hospitality tax back to the town. So 10 o'clock and 2:30, they can come to whichever one they want to. It will be set up somewhat like a drop-in, like the open house was, to where we can speak with them about any possible challenges they may face so that we can identify those early on, talk to them about the known, what an H-tax is to make sure that they're clear on what an H-tax needs to be applied to, and then we'll start talking timeline with them on putting this in place and the timelines that we know at this point. So we will be having 2 sessions tomorrow for that, and hopefully they will be well attended.
Mr. Mayor, did he say that the town would be collecting the money, or that the state would collect the money and give it back to us?
The town.
The town will collect the money?
It will be remitted directly to the town.
Thank you.
So, Mayor, when is the hospitality committee going to meet?
I'm working on a date with the Municipal Association to come and do an education, and that date will be going out this week. Thank you. Moving on to item C, Halloween Fall Festival Trick or Treat.
Okay, Seth got a little bit upset with me earlier because I changed the name on my sheet here. Halloween on Main, which is the Halloween Fall Festival / Trick or Treat event that we've had over the past couple of years. So Halloween on Main will be held Wednesday, October 31st from 6 to 8 o'clock p.m. on Main Street. We are making a few changes to the event this year. We will be moving all the activities that were generally held in the Leesville College Park. Those will be shifted out of the park, and it will run from College Street to Highway 1 on Main Street. So we will not have those activities we've typically had in the park anymore. They will be spread out down Main Street in the center, or behind Mama and Pop's in that field area that's right there behind Mama and Pop's. We will not have parking or vehicles on Main Street for the event this year. Last year, because of the large increase in number of people that attended, having the vehicles on Main Street became a safety issue. You have a lot of children wearing dark clothing. It's been very dark out there, and you've got cars driving on Main Street with children running across the road and adults going across the road. So we wanted to get the cars off of Main Street this year. So we have secured parking areas where the Poultry Festival rides are normally set up, which will be able to accommodate a large number of vehicles. As well, the parking areas on Railroad Avenue that are generally used for the customer parking. As well, at the end of College Street at Bernard Street, there's a field there. We've received permission from the property owner to allow parking in that field as well for the event. So we feel like we've got adequate parking, and certainly we will continue to try and find additional parking should we feel we need some additional parking for that. There will be food vendors this year set up on Main Street. I know people oftentimes finish up that event and want to go frequent some restaurants right around that area. We've had good success over the past couple of events that we've had by bringing mobile food trucks and food vendors in. They will be set up on Main Street with their menus available for people should they want to take advantage of the food vendors. The businesses on Main Street, Leesville, have already worked out the games and shop hop idea, which I think was very successful last year. That was the first year that the businesses opened and allowed people to come in and trick or treat and shop hop and play games. I know they are working with the Batesburg Business Association to bring them in and set up booths in that business district as well, so that there's opportunities for them to take part in this event. And that's something they've been working on together. I just want to send a special thanks to the Chamber of Commerce, the Leesville Merchants Association, Batesburg Business Association, and the Dream Catchers for all the help. There's a big committee that's been put together to organize this, and everyone's pitched in and really played a large part in helping to organize this.
And the homeowners in the area,
they're nervous about the potential influx of people because it really grew.
How are we reaching out to them?
Letters went out today.
Letters went out today letting them know of our changed plans, moving from the park and cutting off at College Street, letting them know that we do anticipate growth in this event, which we saw a significant growth last year over the previous year. So I know there's some other conversations being had without promises and commitments that maybe we can look at some candy to kind of help out and do some things like that. That's still being looked at, and that's not necessarily a commitment that is capable of being made at this point right now, but it is being discussed and considered.
You talk about being dark. What have you done to increase lighting for safety for the kids and the families that will be out late?
Couple changes this year. We are bringing in, I believe it's 2 light trailers to put on periodically, and those light trailers light up a significant distance. We will have, the business district's lit up well, so we've got 2 light trailers that'll be spread evenly along Main Street. It will be cranked up, and they will certainly light up Main Street significantly. We are also bringing in porta-johns, and we will have multiple porta-john locations along Main Street in the downtown Batesburg business, downtown Leesville business district in that area. So there will be porta-john options for people as well. We'll have music as well. So.
Okay. Moving on to item D, possible new Lake Murray water customers from AAA Utilities.
I didn't realize I printed 2-sided. Okay, Mr. Ed Swearingen of AAA Utilities, which owns little small systems out near the lake. He's got multiple small systems out that way. Has approached the town about the possibility of the town taking over water service in 2 subdivisions that he currently serves out on Lake Murray, which would be fed off of our Lake Murray system number 2. One subdivision is Murray Hills, which is located on Horse Creek Road, and the second is Lakeside Bars subdivision that is located on Rocky Ridge Road. He has estimated the number of taps to be approximately 75 customers. We are currently serving, so he has a master meter at the entrance to the neighborhood. It is our system too, but it is Gilbert Summit's waters, which we purchase from Gilbert Summit each month. But it's mastered metered at the beginning of the neighborhood. What he's talking about doing is we remove the master meter out of the equation. We take ownership of the lines, the taps, the meters, and we take over the customers. I believe he's just getting, I don't want to call him old. I think he's getting to a point where he would like to.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
No, I'm not going to do that. I think he's getting to a point he would like to downsize his what he has to look over on a daily basis in life, and so he's approached us about our willingness to take it over. As nice as it may seem, for 75 new customers, there is due diligence that we are doing. They have experienced some coliform issues in the past, and so we're talking with DHEC right now to try and get kind of a history on the past of these water systems, any issues that he's.
That water doesn't come from Gilbert Summit, correct?
It does. All of it for both. No,
it's groundwater systems out there.
Oh, it's groundwater.
Groundwater.
I thought he was master metered off of
He
Gilbert
is
Summit.
master metered on us. He's not having any cold form issues there.
It's groundwater.
Where it's groundwater.
Okay.
And he is not physically connected to our system too. And there's about 58 homes in that subdivision.
Okay. Thank you for the correction. So with Tim, I know Tim's working with DHEC right now, evaluating the system. He's out there looking at the system and basically trying to make sure that we're not getting into something that we shouldn't be getting into. So we're in a due diligence period right now, but just wanted to let you know he has come to us. He has made this request. We are doing due diligence, and we will come back once we have finalized that to make a recommendation to you guys.
Thank you. Moving on to item E, VL Fire Department grant for new firefighting gear.
All right, the fire department was notified actually this past week that they have received a grant. It is a 4-year grant with no matching funds required for $165,496 to purchase fire gear as a part of the existing grant that we received for the recruiting and retention officer. This is underneath the umbrella of that grant. So the Explorer post that has been formed as part of the class that's being taught at the high school, as well as any other Explorers that we take on, this grant is to purchase full sets of gear for these Explorers. As they transition out of Explorers into full-time firefighters or volunteers for the town, they will be able to keep this gear as they transition up. So really good grant. We certainly love 100% grants as well, without a match. So just a couple quick notes to throw in. The fire department has had quite a bit of success with grants over the past few years. In 2015, they did receive an AFG grant for $45,715 for P25 radio upgrades. In 2017, they received the SAFER grant for the recruiting and retention officer for right at $224,000. And they've also received $35,000 in additional donations and grants in various categories throughout that time. So since 2014, they're right at $470,000 in grants received over the past 3 to 4 years. So we are very appreciative of the fire department's efforts in applying for grants and keeping that cost off of the town as much as possible. So it helps in so many ways.
That's awesome.
I have a question. Turnout gear is quite expensive, so what are the requirements for these students before they get turnout gear?
If you don't mind, I'd like to invite Chief Andrews to answer that.
That's an investment.
It is an investment. The turnout gear is about $3,000 per student. The way the grant is written, it is for Explorers that are mainly going to be in that class. It's not a requirement, but the goal is that they're in the class and they're pursuing the Firefighter 1 as a minimum, Firefighter 1 certification. But per the grant through FEMA, there is no minimum requirement other than being an Explorer.
Have you set a minimum requirement for these students that they get into a semester of this fire program? They say it's not for them, but you already spent $3,000 on turnout gear and then you can't use it?
We are in the phase where we're still writing that up. The grant is not going into effect until November, so Josh and I have talked about setting those parameters, but we have not established it. The most likely is going to be the requirement of being Firefighter 1 certified. They have gear available at the school, so this would be gear that's, the Explorers are under our umbrella, and so this is going to be gear that they're going to, again, as they matriculate to the fire department, they will be able to bring with them. It is going to be the same gear that we purchase our firefighters so that it's a seamless transition. We would have ownership of that gear, so if we size Jason, just as an example of a young aspiring firefighter, if we sized him, but when he gets 18, he decides not to be a firefighter, that gear would just go into our circulation and can be reissued. So, but it is 48 sets of gear over the course of 4 years, 12 sets per year.
100% covered?
Yes.
Cost?
Yes.
Awesome.
And that coat, pants, boots, gloves, flash hood, helmet. And it also does include introductory physicals, which can be a little bit pricey, so as they get started.
Is that for annual basis?
That is the introductory physical for it. Again, for the Explorers, the intent is to use that as they are close to coming on to the fire department. They're not required to have that for the class. Essentially, it's a sports physical that they're required to have for the firefighting class in high school. That's not required. There is no minimum requirement for the Explorers. This is something we added so that right now it's about a $300 cost for a new firefighter. Any volunteer that we add, they're required to have a physical before being issued any equipment.
So it would be the same to meet the NFPA standard?
Yes, this was to bring up NFPA compliance, yes. It's also OSHA compliant. So, but that physical is mainly geared towards the end of their Explorer experience before they become an official firefighter at the age of 18. Any other questions?
When will we have to purchase the air equipment for?
Air equipment, like air packs?
Air packs.
At the moment, that's not something necessary. We have air packs that we can use in training purposes. They're not going to be, the school has actually purchased 4 air packs for the class. So their majority of their training in the classroom will be done with those 4 air packs. But our air packs were purchased in 2013, so they're 5 years of age, so they still have 10 years life left. We have masks that are issued to firefighters, so we shouldn't really see any major costs with new members with regards to air packs. Any other questions?
Thank you, Chief.
Moving on to item F, MASC Elected Officials Institute upcoming session.
Okay, September 18th, let me say this, the September 18th Municipal Elected Officials Institute session that was scheduled was canceled due to Hurricane Florence. I knew we had, at the time, 1 member registered to attend that session. This session has been rescheduled to November 13th at the Central Midlands Council of Government. Again, if you choose to do the sessions on demand, you have that option, but if you